Eileen, I have a question for you.
You do.
I,
Shall I call on you? Or I've already called you,
you've
so
already
okay.
called.
Okay.
As you know, we're building up a whole section of conversations on Alexander procedures. You do know
Oh,
that. We have
yeah.
mirror
I've
work
heard
so
that.
far, and we have whispered ah. And I thought today might be a nice day to talk about the monkey.
The monkey.
The monkey. What's your, maybe if you would start by describing it and then saying a little bit about what you see its usefulness is and how someone can use it on their own. I'd keep it fairly short, and I'll say a little about it, and then if we need to, we can certainly do a follow-up conversation or two on it.
Okay. So, uh, the monkey gets its name for the look of the position, where someone releases their neck, their head goes a little forward and up, their spine lengthens, they they're canceling, pulling down. They're continuing to be aware of what they're doing with their body, and their knees, hips, and ankles bend. So it's very much, it's really just bending, but bending in a very different kind of easy way. And there's a little bit of that. I can't remember if it was Alexander that said there was a little bit of that in everything, but there really is, even in standing straight.
Hmm.
There's this little bit of a release of the knees, hips, and ankles as you're lengthening up that is just in everything. And it's something that if you went further with it in a certain direction, you'd be sitting down. If you went further with it with one leg, you'd be doing a lunge.
Hmm.
If you
You're,
if you just
and
go
to
a
make
little
that
distance,
clear,
you're
to make
you're
that clear, one leg at right angles, one foot at right angles to the
right,
other is
not
a
just
lunge.
standing
Right, and we probably should discuss the lunge separately
okay,
as a
all right.
procedure. But
But anyway, this way of bending
hmm
is just is so easy that you could just stay in it for quite a long time and not have strain on your back. It's great for
hmm
your abdominal muscles.
hmm hmm
It's just a wonderful. It's wonderful for voice. It's wonderful for breathing. Um, a little bit of that bend is what you might do when you're at the kitchen counter chopping vegetables,
hmm
or when you're bending, doing dishes in the sink. There's so many ways that that's used, and it's so essential, really, to upright being. That
And
is very
the thing that you would say is essential is that directions that you're talking about in the sense of even if your knees aren't appreciably bent, they could easily bend. Is that maybe what you're
right.
saying?
Right. They are
You're in a
not
situation
fixed in the
where
position, and they have a slight tendency or
right,
buoyancy to direct forward.
exactly. And
Right.
so what you're saying is a very subtle monkey, in a sense, is what you might want to be carrying around with you all the time, in the sense that you'd like to be able to actually bend, say to sit down or to reach down and pick something up. You'd like to be able to do that on an instant's notice without it being a big deal.
And a good image for that is when you watch a very young toddler and they're
Exactly.
just learning to walk, and they're upright one moment and the next moment they're squatting, they're bent.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing for them to go between the two.
Right. Exactly. That's and we have that ability, and but we've a lot of times we've lost it. Some people would blame the chair for some of that. Alexander tended to blame rapid pace of industrialization. Who knows? But generally in the West, we're not real good at that, and it's something that really makes a difference if you can develop a little skill in it. I'd like to just end. If do you have anything else pressing you want to say? I have a sort of an ending thing here.
I can't think of anything else right now that wouldn't lead to a more detailed conversation. That could
Okay,
be
and
another.
we can have several
Yeah.
conversations on this if need be. The person who I think said the most brilliant thing about the monkey was Marjorie Barlow, not Barstow, but Marjorie Barlow, Will Alexander's niece and a well-known the late Marjorie Barlow. I think she's died, didn't she? I hope I'm not
Yes,
being
yes, she
premature
did.
here.
And if
Um,
she's Alexander's niece, it's
Niece,
amazing
she's
that he gave
Alexander's
his niece a name.
his
There's so
knees, right? Yeah, and in
Okay.
somewhere where she wrote about the monkey, she said something to the effect, and I have to paraphrase here, that one way to think of the monkey is it's a deliberate going backwards in the evolutionary cycle, and in the sense that you were going into a position that it was an earlier was something that we did more earlier in our development, and it's a deliberate retreat, say, from full standing up, in order that you can sort of reassess yourself and maybe make a few little changes and then come back out of it. It's never a monkey is not something that you want to sort of be carrying around with you all day as you go through life. It's a place to go to learn and then go back into standing upright.
Well, it also is something that you do stay in if you're bending at the sink or doing
Oh,
other
if
things.
you're bending, but I'm
And
saying you don't
you're
spend
you're
all
talking
day.
about going into a deep,
I'm
a
talking
deeper, a
about going
regular
into, yeah,
bent,
yeah. Oh, if
but
you're at the
there's a
sink.
little bit of it just in the basic directions and standing, and it's not going back to so you're not looking like you're
Right.
pre
There's a
uh,
little bit, but I'm saying the
Homo
big
sapien.
bit, the big bending, it's sort of the classic Alexander monkey. Chances are you're not gonna. It's going to be a little awkward going through a normal life in that kind of a monkey. Anyway, so let's end it there, okay?
Okay.